We'll begin on page 11 or 129. Page 11.
Dodi va'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodi va'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Mizot olah min hamidbar, mizot olah. Mikuteret mor levona, moru levona. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Libatini achoti chala, libatini chala. Libatini achoti chala, libatini chala. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Uri zafon uvo iteman. Uri zafon uvo iteman. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim. Dodi li ba'ani lo haroeh bashoshanim.
Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be together. If you don't know us up here, this is Rabbi Heath Wadenmaker. I'm Rabbi Sarah Weissman. We got our wonderful band, Fred Ross Perry, Ken Mowry, and Be'eri Mo'alem. And if you don't know who you're sitting near, maybe it's a good time to introduce yourselves. Wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. And if you need a conversation starter, you can share your favorite popsicle flavor in honor of this balmy evening.
It's like sherry.
I'm an orange girl.
Yeah.
Always like the orange ones.
And by extension, creamsicle. Right? Am I talking? Push-ups, right? You do.
That's right.
Eat enough of them so that your mouth and tongue turn horrible colors. Then you stick your tongue out and show everyone.
Absolutely. Good. I hope you learned something new about your friends here. We're going to welcome in Shabbat with the lighting of candles. We'd like to invite up Laura Whitman and her son Grant to light the Shabbat candles. You can find the blessing on page 2 or 120. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we continue with Kiddush, the blessing over the wine, on page 5 or 123. Matthew, you know you're right on cue, Matthew. You got to come back. I'd like to invite anyone who is under the age of 13 or thereabouts who'd like to come and join us on the bima for some juice. This is how we make sure our Shabbat is extra sweet. For you guys, it's to drink the juice, and for everyone else, it's to see how cute you are. It's a win-win. There's a couple more coming, so don't take all the juice just yet, guys. That's right. Do you want to? Yes, come on, Leah. Just a minute. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava u'ratzon, inchilanu, zikaron le'maseh v'reishit, kivu yom techila, lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'harta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'ratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim. L'chaim. Thank you, boys.
An excellent vintage of juice.
Yes, it's a good year. Hopefully this one. It's juice, so that was a juice joke. We'll turn now to the words of Lecha Dodi on page 20 or 138. And as is our custom, we'll sing the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses. When we get to that final verse, we're going to rise, face the entrance, and welcome in the Sabbath bride. So please join with us, page 20 or 138.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu, El hameyuchad Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, Hashem lo tiferet, ve'litifla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lekuvnei chaki dimekor, haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech, kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai, alayich nikla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha, u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
We turn to the call to worship, the words of Baruch Hu, page 28 or 146. Turn to words of Ahavat Olam on page 32. These are words that remind us of a love that lasts through all time and space, a love that is eternal. Let's join together.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Torah u'mitzvot, kukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, hukumeinu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'yorech yameinu, u'bahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Let's read the words of the V'ahavta together in the English on page 37. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
Continue our service, page 40 or 158. We'll sing those words of freedom, a reminder that redemption from those narrow places is always possible, always out on the horizon.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. No ra tehilot, oseh be'eleh, no ra tehilot, oseh be'eleh, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokei ayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam. Se'eli anu ve'amru, se'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. No ra tehilot, oseh be'eleh. No ra tehilot, oseh be'eleh. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
V'ne'amar kivad Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
As you walked in, hopefully tucked into your siddur, you got one of these cardstock song sheets. So we're on side A, number 3. Hashkivenu is our prayer for the evening. It's our prayer that asks God to give us shelter. And it's a recognition of how fragile that shelter can be. So maybe if you're here with somebody that you find shelter, or who gives you shelter, maybe just put your arm around that person tonight as we sing this prayer. And if you're not here with somebody that gives you shelter, maybe just call to mind somebody with whom you feel safe and sheltered and protected, and just bring them into this prayer. We'll sing together number 3.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu Shemenu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from from all harmful things. O Adonai, keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
On page 44 or 162, the top of the page, our prayer for Shabbat pulled from the book of Exodus, a reminder, the connection between Shabbat and the experience of leaving those narrow places, of leaving Egypt. So we'll sing those words, V'shamru, together, page 44 or 162.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל,
בני ישראל,
אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני,
עשה אדוני
את השמיים ואת הארץ,
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש,
שבת וינפש,
שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
On page 46 or 164, we're going to begin the Amidah together. Amidah from the word to stand, because this is our standing prayer. So if you are able to lift yourself up, I invite you to do so in whatever way you're able, whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally, verbally. We'll continue together on page 46. We'll sing the first few blessings together and then take some time for our own private prayers as well.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umidom melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
Page 52.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, merak hashamayim, tfilat adam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, merak hashamayim, tfilat adam. O Lord, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
As you likely have caught on by now, throughout the months of July and August, we have really the incredible gift of being able to hear from all sorts of different congregants, insights into their expertise, their experience, their background. So tonight it is my honor to introduce two of our members, Daniel and Alla Anderson, who are going to share a bit about their story tonight. Come on up.
It's a pleasure and an honor to be up here speaking to you today. My parents joined Beth Am about 40 years ago. I moved back to the Bay about a year ago after 5 years living in Israel. And I'm here to introduce someone to you that I met there. Someone that's very special to me, my wife, Alla. But first I'd like to share a little bit about my experience in our wonderful home country of Ukraine. I first visited Ukraine in July 2020. I've been dating Alla for about 4 years, and things have been going really well. We had been living in Israel while I was working as a software developer. The problem was that she was moving back to her home country, or home city in Vinnytsia, Ukraine. And we were gonna have to start having a long-distance relationship. Not so easy. But we were committed, so we started planning. Most of the planning revolved me around scheduling trips to visit her in Ukraine every few weeks. This is the first time that I was introduced to her beautiful country. Over the next few months, I was able to make multiple very memorable trips to Ukraine. Kiev is not exactly like Tel Aviv, and Vinnytsia is not exactly like Palo Alto, but they have a lot in common. The country is very green, and there are many interconnected trains across the country. It is possible to get a taxi if you know what you're doing. You can feel the Soviet history as well as the blossoming Ukrainian pride. I visited Alla many times in her home city of Vinnytsia. I visited the bustling capital of Kiev, and I even spent a weekend away in the now famous western city of Lviv. In one especially memorable trip, I went with Alla to a hard rock show a few miles from her apartment at Vinnytsia. In many ways, I was like a celebrity there. Whether I was outside getting some air or at the bar getting some very affordable drinks, nearly everyone would pick up on my English and try to talk to me. When I mentioned Israel, people were really excited and wanted to learn more. Unfortunately, the Ukraine that we see now is not the same Ukraine I had the opportunity to visit multiple times a little over a year ago. Many of the same men and women that listened to music with me only a few months ago are now volunteering in large numbers to protect their country. Many others have fled or have been forced to relocate out of the East. I want to introduce my wife, who will tell you a little bit more about it feels like when one's country goes to war, why it's not safe for her to go back home, and why it's not legal for her dad, who's 58 years old, to leave and visit us.
Hi. Hi, I'm Mala Anderson, and I have been a member of Batam for almost a year. Unfortunately, as you know, my home country currently at the war. When I think about circumstances that forced me to leave my homeland, my heart is filled with the terror. And most of you don't wake up every day and think about war, but I do. Every day I'm checking news and I'm worrying about my home and my family. The war in Ukraine unleashed a torrent of suffering upon its people, tearing families apart and shattering dreams. The pain of separation and fear of losing loved ones and the constant uncertainty of what tomorrow holds are burdens that weighed heavily on every Ukrainian heart. Yet, amidst the chaos and despair, a flicker of undefended spirit remains alive within the hearts of Ukrainians. Today I stand before you as a person who knows firsthand what war is and what it means to live under sirens when you have to run to the shelter wherever it's a night and you sleep in good day. I have experienced windows rattling due to explosion a few miles away. I faced situations when the credit card's useless and ATMs refuse to dispense cash. And it's only a tiny fraction what people have deal with. My parents still live in Ukraine, and I'm in touch with them every day. We talk about current situation and how people support each other. However, sometimes our conversation takes a somber turn when my dad or my mom mention a specific person and inform me that that person has been killed. There will be a funeral. One day, my cousin texted me and asked if I had heard about our sport trainer, and I said that I had spoken to him like a few months ago, and he seems positive, serving in the army, and she replied, he's no longer with us. There were 12 guys, including him, were killed in the shell explosion, and his body will be delivered soon for a funeral. It's hard to put into words that emotions when you're seeing such news, and especially when you know the person very well. This is something that every Ukrainian has dealt with. While it's true that physical distance can separate us from the current situation, but it does not reduce the responsibility we bear to people who, against their will, found themselves in this situation where they need to fight for their fundamental rights to life, to freedom and independence at the cost of human life. I call upon each and every one of you today to join us in standing in solidarity with Ukraine. We must remember the importance safeguarding the principles of peace, freedom, and justice. I ask you not to be indifferent to people who defend not only their rights to a peaceful existence, but your right to live in peace. Слава Україні та незламному духу нації. Glory to Ukraine and unstoppable spirit of the nation. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming here tonight and letting us share our experience with all you today. I'm very grateful that Allah is able to share her story with you in person from the Bay Area. It's a complicated position to be safe while knowing that people you love are still in danger and need our help. As you can imagine, there are some strong feelings of survival's guilt, as well as a very strong urge to help any way that you can. That is one of the reasons why we are so grateful to have been able to contribute both our time and language skills to the Poltava-Odessa Committee here at Beth Am. The committee has given us an opportunity to regularly practice Tikkun Olam in a very direct way. By pairing our committee directly with those on the ground who need our assistance, we've been able to sidestep any potential middlemen that may seek to profit off our charity and seek to support and support directly where it is needed. The Torah portion this week is the first piece of the book of Deuteronomy. Throughout this book, Moses is retelling the story of the Jewish people and their pilgrimage to Israel. He wants to make sure that the next generation understands both their mistakes and their triumphs in order to make sure that history does not repeat itself. A noble effort by Moses, but as we've seen in Ukraine, history does have a habit of repeating itself. As many of you may remember, what is happening in Ukraine is eerily similar to what happened in Chechnya. I urge you to support Beth Am's effort to help the people of Ukraine and to give generously tonight. Thank you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel and Allah, for sharing your story. We'll continue with our prayer for healing, Misha Berach, on page 253 or 371. This week, our Beth Am community is sending healing prayers to Ginny Anderson, Susan Carlson, Diane Denenberg, Tony De Asopo, John Devine, Rudy Andrizi, Mickey Foreman, David Gaskill, Marty Gelman, Selena Glader, Barbara Heiken, Moritz Huppert, Jordan Leon, Judith Ovadia, Sophia Palisban, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Peggy Pizzo, Bud Schuler, Bob Silver, Gary Silver, Stephen Abraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Lisa Spangler, Patrick Sumner, Julie Sutcliffe, Joanne Thompson, Len Williams, and Chana Bat Shlomo Umiriam. If there's someone in need of healing in your life, I invite you to share those names with our community. We send prayers of healing of spirit and healing of body their way. Page 253 or 371.
Sheberach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheverach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
continue on page 282 or 586 with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. If you're able to rise, please do so.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
You can be seated. For those of you who are here for the Poltava-Odessa committee's dinner afterwards, dinner will be on the social hall patio right after our service. If you're not here and you wanted to be here, I think dinner is full, unfortunately. Yes? Yes. So sorry, but there certainly you can, if you want to learn more, as Daniel and Allah talked about, the incredible work our Poltava-Odessa committee continues to do here at Beth Am, directly in Ukraine. You can learn more on our website. Also want to point out our tzedakah box at the very back of the outdoor chapel here. It's the triangular box. This month's tzedakah box is going to all five. This month it's going to an organization in Israel called Adam Teva Vadin, an Israeli organization that uses the law, science, urban planning, and policy development skills to ensure that Israelis have clean air, safe water, open spaces, and protection from chemicals in the environment. Encourage you to give generously if you're here in person, or you can also donate online on our website or through Venmo or Beth-Am. As we turn to our prayer of memory on page 294, as I read the name of your loved one, I invite you to rise in their honor and remain standing. And for those of us who perhaps are not in mourning in this moment, to just also take note of who in our community is rising, that you might offer them some words of comfort after our service as well. This week we're in the period of Shiva, the first week of mourning for Robert Bloom, the husband of Gloria Bloom, father of our member Claudia Bloom, father-in-law of Dan Pitt, father of Madeline Bloom Levitz, father-in-law of Richard Levitz, father of Jonathan Bloom, grandfather of Miriam Yvonne Jonas, Julian Goodman Pitt, Eric Levitz, and David Levitz, grandfather-in-law of Bradley Jonas, Tamima Levitz, and great-grandfather of Luca Avery Jonas. We remember Jerome Jerry Behar, husband of Leslie, father of Joseph and his fiancée Justine, Jacob and Daniel, son of Shirley Sarah Chickarell Behar, and Marcel Nissim Behar of blessed memory, brother of Dr. Mark Behar, Ricky Behar, Lisa Behar Greenberg, and David Robinson, brother-in-law of Jeff, TG, Richie, and Doris, and uncle of Nissim and Lily Behar, and Michael and Peter Ehrman. And we remember Jane Fellows, sister of David Hennig, sister-in-law of Noreen, aunt of Isaac and Rebecca Hennig. We're in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Laura Newman, Jim Vandergriff, Jerry Dorland, and Jerry Dorland. And this Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death for Marie Avery, Sophia Eisenberg, Elian Bartel, Ruth Bauman, Bernard Bergman, Sidney Berman, Natalie Bisgeyer, Edith Bonner, Samuel Bronstein, Esther Casimir, George Casimir, Israel Cederbaum, Norman Cohen, Samuel Cohen, Harriet Ellman, Jenny Esfeld, Maddie Feel, Moisha Frankel, Mary Foldetta, Abraham Fried, Esther Friedman, Lauren Gerson, Mitchell Ginsky, Roy Goldhammer, Betty Greenberg, Sadie Green, Dorothy Huppert, Peggy Kafka, Sam Kahn, Matilda Kahn, Leonard Kaplan, Paul Carlin, Penny Kermit, Liesl Colm, Ann Kramer, Lou N. Lefton, Clara Gordon Lefton, Albert Levinson, Irene Levine, Rose Leaf, Doris Laurel, Peppy Mermelstein, Gail Munson, Jane Packer, Nettie Reiter, Stephen Roseman, Joel Rothblatt, Harry Rothman, Rosalind Sandler, Reba Sardell, Lillian Scheffner-Goodkin, Jack Sheriff, John J. Jack Simmons, Victor Smigel, Melvin Tannen, Elizabeth Targ, Ray Triger, Sarah Weitzer, Anatoly Vinnick, Fruma Volpin, Sumner Waldman, Sylvia Isaacs-Warshaw, Sadie Weisbrod, Etta Westerman, Boris Wolper, Norman Wolfson, and I, Mark Zeligs. If there's someone that you're remembering, I invite you to share those names, rise and share those names with our community at this time. We rise together as a community of support and solidarity. I want to just note as we read the words of Kaddish on page 294 that one of our members who passed away this week, their family is Sephardic, and asked if it was possible to read the Sephardic Kaddish, which is only ever so slightly different from the Kaddish that we all are familiar with. There's a very short insertion in the very first line of the Kaddish. So if you hear words that you're not familiar with, don't worry, you'll pick up where it's familiar again very quickly. So we're on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah, ve'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, ve'yatzmach porkaneh v'yikarev mishicheh, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba, yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, amen.
Amen.
We'll end our service with our prayer for peace, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, which is on page 330. Where is it?
Something.
No, not 3. Yeah.
We only sing it every week.
We only sing it every week.
It's in the book.
353.
353.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam. shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel imru.